The time is 6:30 in the evening.
We're coming to you live from the Tony's in Bedford studios.
We got Mickey here on the ones and twos.
Dealer over here.
And Coolhand.
Starting off with our lineup today, we're going to talk about Alabama versus Clemson, followed by some MLB talk, the NFL playoffs, and the NHL talk, and some NBA All-Star chit-chat. So we're going to kick it off with what's about to kick off, the Alabama versus Clemson NCAA bowl game.
For the third time in 4 years? And they've actually played all of the last 4 years?
Yeah, stop me if you've heard this before, but Alabama's going to play Clemson.
For the national championship. They are 1-1 though, so I guess this is for the serious tiebreaker.
Best 2 out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, paper, rock, scissors for it.
It's this one's for all the marbles, Nick Saban. So who you got to come out on top there?
I want to say Clemson because I hate Alabama in the SEC with the fire and the passion, but they're just too good.
Yeah?
I mean, they can roll 2 quarterbacks at you, 2 different styles, depending on what the game dictates, how Clemson's defense is going to play him, especially without, what's his name, Lawrence, I think? Mm-hmm. The kid that got busted for whatever it was, some sort of PED.
Boys will be boys.
Sure.
Well, and then you got so my take here is that Alabama's going to get the win here, and yeah. I think that Alabama is good for college football. Now, their dominant reign makes it interesting whenever a team has a lot of momentum, a lot of steam, all eyes are on football, that program, and then you say that steamrolling team is going to play Alabama. Boom. People want to tune in. Let's say you got a UT-Alabama matchup. People want to watch that. If you get a good team up against Alabama, people want to watch that.
It's true, but I mean, people will watch other big-time matchups too. Right. I mean, people watch Notre Dame and Clemson. Clemson's only really a recent powerhouse.
Yeah. And
Notre Dame's been truly garbage for 20 years. I know they've made the national championship in the playoff, but they gotten smoked both times. They need to join a conference.
Right. I think the conference alignment needs to also get talked about. And also we need to talk about the health of bowl games.
Yeah.
Because some programs out there, respectable, like A&M, are getting North Carolina. When's the last time you sat down and said, I want to watch a North Carolina game?
Well, now that Mac Brown's back, it's going to be must-watch TV for sure. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, do I want to sit down and watch, like, Toledo and Western Kentucky? No, that's probably not that's probably not what I did. I might turn it on for 5 seconds just to say I turned it on, but...
Are there too many bowl games?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
After a while, I think it's just why, and also I think with this many bowl games, you're running the risk of the ratings declining due to fatigue. Like, it's like you said, A&M playing Toledo, and there's going to be a bowl with 2 teams you've probably never even heard of before.
It's A&M North Carolina.
What'd I say?
Toledo.
It's Toledo.
Wrong.
But I do believe that too many bowl games can lead to fatigue, which could result in a loss of ratings. What do you think, Dealer?
I think that you got 2 things going on there. That the smaller bowl games get the viewers of the smaller markets interested again. For instance, you'll have somebody near, you're gonna have your Wyoming fans tune in. You're gonna have your Boise State fans turn in. You're gonna have your Illinois fans tune in to their bowl games if they make it to one, right? And so
Illinois plays in the Big Ten.
So I'm just saying they're going to tune in to their bowl games. They're going to tune into their games to support their team. They're just going to get the smaller or lesser known market teams involved. It doesn't always have to be the top guys. But I also don't believe that there needs to be a bowl game per se. I think that it could be considered something else, not a bowl game. Let's keep the name bowl game sacred, and let's introduce something else.
My thing is, these other teams, since these smaller market teams, especially the MAC and the Sun Belt and the WAC, the WAC doesn't even exist anymore. The Mountain West Conference, all these smaller conferences, they need these games. Now that everything's on national TV, it's a little bit different. It's not quite like it was, say, 10, 15 years ago, where if you're like a San Jose State, you needed to play in a bowl game to be on TV. But there's other benefits to it as well. The extra couple weeks of practice is huge. A bowl game really is more like a spring game for the next season. It's really about finding out who's going to be coming back for you next year for your regular season. And with these small teams not being able, really no realistic chance of ever actually making the national championship playoffs. Not realistically. I mean, UCF had probably the best chance, and they still were on the outside looking in. Unless they expand the playoffs, they need these bowl games in order to show who they are and really be on a national stage by themselves, not playing with 3,000 other games that are going on.
Do either of you think they should expand the playoffs?
I'm all for it, because if you go down to your local park, you can watch a bracket-style playoff elimination game for T-ball. Okay, you toss in some more teams, congratulations, you're at the middle school level, they still can figure out a bracket. High school, they can figure out a bracket. The NFL can figure out a bracket. Why can college football not figure out a bracket? It doesn't make sense. It's been a domination by the market money. That's all it comes down to be. And, obviously Alabama's got their money. And, who knows if they're throwing around money to keep out certain programs that could actually challenge them. But if Alabama had to go through a little bracket-style thing, such as similar to the NFL, I think that would be must-watch football.
Well, I think it should be 8, maybe 10. The thing is, when do you start diluting it to a point? It should. If you have 5 Power 5 conferences team, you need to have every conference winner in. I've always felt that if you're gonna have 5 of this, then you need to have at least all their champions in. And then UCF would have gone in and would have cleared up some issues. There's never a right answer to the number of teams. Look at the NCAA basketball tournament. There's 68 teams that make it, and people still complain about people not getting in.
But it does give number 67 to be a reason to be thankful for it. Because number 67 has every, I wouldn't say so much chance, but at least they're on paper a way to become a champion.
Well, that's true. I'd rather play in the NIT if I'm number 67 than because a chance to actually win it. Maybe what they could do is have several brackets, kind of like what they do with that, because they got the NCAA tournament, and then they have the NIT, now they have the CBE, and all these other tournaments that are below it. Why not have an 8, another 8, another 8, another 8? That way, you could really get all the teams involved. Everybody has a chance to win something like that.
I think it goes down to diluting the talent, but we're going to continue on here. And we're going to jump on over to, we're going to continue the football talk, actually. And we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, specifically about them boys.
We showed up.
It was, they played pretty well, except for Alan Hearns' foot.
Oh, jeez. They released a picture of the x-rays of his, what was it, a dislocated ankle and a fractured knee? Or am I mixing those up?
No, that's good.
Anyway, that bone is definitely in 2 pieces, and
no. That looked awful.
His foot did a complete 180.
I was actually listening to the game, fortunately, when that happened, and they're just describing it, Brad Sham and Babe Laufenberg, and his foot's backwards. Oh.
I watched the game live in a bar setting, and when they showed the replay of his foot going backwards, there's just a collective ooh throughout the entire bar, Seahawks and Cowboys fans alike.
I'm pretty sure anybody watching that game in the country, as soon as they saw that replay, was like, oh, Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's something you can see. It really was everywhere. And, I'm hoping for his sake that he heals fast. I saw here he went into surgery, so that's great news. They're actually giving him the medical help that he needs. So wish him back. And, and a nice thing that I really liked with that player was that he wore the number to commemorate Florida's shooting from the high school, Stillman majority.
Oh, really?
So his number actually represents the victims there. And I thought that was really touching by him. He always seems like a good guy for that. And overall, I've watched some of his interviews. He speaks pretty clearly. He speaks like an honest guy. So it sucks to see that kind of injury happen, especially right now. You spend all offseason get ready. You put in your sweat and blood and tears for the whole season, and then this happens. Injuries are never good, but I really think that injuries are amplified the deeper you go in the playoffs.
Right.
That hurts the most.
Right. Well, his career is probably done. I mean, even if he does walk again, it'd be 2 years before he could even really do anything. And he's not a young man anymore. He's had a torn ACL as well. I wish the best for him. But the Cowboys still managed to pull that game out, even with coming through that just disaster.
Now, how about we talk about Philly's hand that they got up just barely in time to block that Bears kick?
Jeez Louise. Everyone's blaming that kicker, but, that was an excellent last-second tip of the finger by the Philly defense.
All I have to say is you should never, ever, ever sign a former Browns kicker. I just want to point that out.
What years did he play for the Browns, and when did he kick for them?
Just last season.
Last season?
Yeah. When Zane Gonzalez got hurt, I guess it was 2 years ago. Not last season. It was 2 years ago. He kicked for the Browns.
Now, here's an interesting little tidbit for y'all. Of the 4 winners of the wild card NFL weekend that we just had, all 4 winners wore white.
The road teams, yeah.
Cowboys were home.
Cowboys were home.
Well, did the Chargers and Ravens game, did they play in Baltimore?
They were.
And the Chargers did win that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming Indianapolis also played in Houston?
Correct. I believe you're correct. I believe that was a home game.
There was, yeah. Texans won their division.
And yeah. I honestly, I like it that we still have a Texas football team still going in there. I know that it would be the NFL thing to watch if we could ever have a Houston Texans versus Cowboys Super Bowl.
They actually talked about that in King of the Hill.
And I think that'd be one of the coming at the end of the world for Texas. But that would be something I would really appreciate watching.
I would love to see that in my lifetime.
No, I hate the Texans, so.
Don't want them getting too close, huh? Knock them out when they did.
That means it's not the Browns representing the AFC, and that's just unacceptable.
So we're gonna move on here, and we're gonna talk a little bit about predictions going forward for the. So we got the Rams playing the Cowboys.
You know, it's interesting about all these wild card games. There was all 4 games, it was either really close or it was a clear winner. In both AFC games, looks like Lightning McQueen wants to join the podcast here. With the Philly and Chicago game, that was what, 1-2 points? What was the
right?
most?
Yeah.
And then with the Cowboys and Seahawks game, that was 2 points.
2 points.
And then with both AFC games, it was at least a touchdown. So there's
the funny thing is, none of them were very well played. Even the Cowboys, it took them a while to get going. I mean,
yeah, Dak Prescott had to scramble a lot.
I know that Eagles-Bears game came down to a field goal, but it was awful to watch. It was an atrociously bad game.
So who do you see here? We got the Cowboys and we got the Rams. Who are you picking?
Rams.
I'm going Rams within 7 points.
I'm saying the boys. And that is a very uneducated viewer's perspective. Merely the fact that...
Would you call that a homer pick?
And it's my home team pick, and I know more about the boys than anybody else. And I was actually a boys doubter this season. I did not pick them to go to the playoffs. I did not actually even pick them to have a winning record. So I think it's one of those things where, the bus came along, it didn't even stop by me, it just ran me over and said you were dead wrong, and it says hold on if you want to be right. So I'm just going to hold on to the bus until it stops going.
I picked the Redskins to win the East, so.
I picked Philly to win the East, so we were all wrong.
Up next in other miserable life choices that we made.
I gotta say though, I am glad that the Cowboys are not playing in the Superdome because the home field advantage, that New Orleans has is god tier.
It gets loud in there. I went to WrestleMania there one time.
Which WrestleMania?
You're asking the wrong guy. I was there for a bachelor party. I'm not a wrestling fan.
So where is the Super Bowl this year?
It's in Atlanta. In the Mercedes-Benz.
Who would have the best home field advantage of all the postseason teams? What do you guys think?
In Atlanta?
Correct.
Not the Patriots. They would be entering hostile territory.
Saints. They play there. That's a rivalry for the Saints with the Falcons, but they do play there every year.
Okay.
And so
I can see a bunch of Saints fans traveling to Atlanta to watch their team play in the Super Bowl, but you know what? I'm going to go, assuming they make the Super Bowl, I'm going to go Rams. I feel like that's the most neutral team that you don't really have a reason to hate the Rams, Atlanta, and the fans in the Atlanta region, so I'm going to go Rams.
I'm going to say number one, I'm going to say the Saints, purely based on geographical. You can easily just drive on over there from Louisiana.
It's basically a hop, skip.
Right. And then I'm going to say number two is probably going to be the Patriots. Of all the fan bases, the Patriots have probably been the most revved up. And in terms of, if you have one winning season, you're going to have a curious fan come on over. And then they had another one, And that makes the curious fans dedicated. It makes the more bandwagon fans, everything like that. So you might have a guy who's South Carolina with the Patriots or just want to drive down there. It might make the dedicated New England fans want to come down and be a part of the Super Bowl. So that's a fan base that's revved up. I can't say the same thing for the Chargers. The Chargers make it. I don't see their fan base being all revved up to fly down to Atlanta.
I'd almost actually maybe say the Eagles, just because they're hated everywhere, so they're just used to it.
Those poor Philly fans. Is what I would say if they didn't throw bottles at Vikings fans last season.
They booed Santa Claus.
Did you see that poster that the Philly fans hung up for playing Chicago? It said, "Chicago, leave, stick to the murder and leave football to Philly."
Oh no!
No! That just from throwing batteries at Santa Claus, it's a very expected thing from Philadelphia.
Philly has no room to talk, so Chicago might be number one, but Philly is probably not lacking too far behind. So
I'm honestly surprised the city of Philadelphia was still standing after they won the Super Bowl. I honestly thought for sure it was going to be set ablaze.
They did try and grease the poles.
They did grease the poles.
Even the Philadelphia Police Department knows. Yeah. This is a bad thing we got here.
What I haven't figured out, though, is why when you win something, you destroy the city you're in.
Yeah.
I just don't. I've never understood rioting for good things.
Or bad things that your team lost, so you're going to go burn.
You talking about the Vancouver Canucks?
Yes, exactly, Vancouver.
I remember exactly.
Oh, you reminded me of that. Oh, wow, that was a thing that happened.
That absolutely happened.
They
Vancouver
lost and they went out and rioted.
They did.
I mean, we've all seen across all sports that there was a specific postseason playoff thing that cheated, that the fans felt cheated, and that they could have rioted. Like the White Sox and the Angels in 2005 with the Drops third strike, where A.J. Pierzynski got on base miraculously and then they won it. LA could have rioted on that one, but they didn't. And I feel like you've always had these sports cheated moments. Boston and the Cardinals with the obstruction play in 2013. So you really have reasons to riot, but they don't. Vancouver straight up did not have a reason to riot. There was nothing of the NHL.
It's just been so long since Canada has had the Stanley Cup that.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story about Pamela Anderson's dad?
No.
Stealing the Stanley Cup?
Oh, right, yeah.
So she's at a Detroit Red Wings Stanley Cup party back in the 90s, back when she was herself and
all of her visual glory.
In all of her visual glory. She's Canadian, so of course they invite her to the cup and whatever. Well, her dad just gets belligerent. And they caught him trying to climb a fence with the Stanley Cup, saying it belongs in Canada.
That is dedication, if I've ever heard it.
So now we're going to flip on over to a topic that we were kind of pondering here, talking about the Japanese in the MLB. Because if you guys haven't been aware, which it's fine, the Seattle Mariners have stolen one of Japan's biggest stars. They signed Kikuchi, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, to a 3-year multi-mega million dollar deal for the Seattle Mariners. And now, this has kind of been a long-time trend of baseball. Ever since, Daisuke Matsuzaka, and, you got Ichiro, who just blew up the sports world.
Don't forget the original one, Hideo Nomo.
Hideo Nomo, exactly.
And then you got Yu Darvish coming in.
Yeah, more recently, right?
More recently,
yeah, for sure. And, you got these people coming in who, Daisuke was all the rage. Everybody wanted him.
The gyro ball.
Yeah, the gyro ball that didn't exist. And honestly, you find these American teams getting revved up, spending millions on for the majority of it, a third-tier starting pitcher, sometimes second or ace.
Right.
Very rarely ace. Like Darvish, it took a little bit of time for Darvish to become Darvish.
When he was healthy,
Right.
He was an elite pitcher.
Right.
The problem is he was not very healthy and not very often.
Right.
So.
And Iwakuma. Yeah, he was a middle of the guy. Hyunjin Ryu for the Dodgers, middle of the rotation guy. Especially whenever you stack him up against somebody like Clayton Kershaw. Of course, Kershaw's going to get.
Right, but the trend's going to keep continuing with the popularity of baseball.
Right.
Growing in Japan.
Yeah.
More and more and more and more. With the money they can make over in the States, you're just going to see them coming over. It's just going to happen. And it's like a new toy. And you never know what that new toy is going to turn out to be. I mean,
yep.
I think Ichiro had 2,000 hits before he came over?
Yeah, he
got 3,000 here. I mean,
amazing.
That's amazing.
I think that it really goes to show how healthy the sport of baseball is. Whenever you're able to go to another country and spend millions just to take a player and bring it to our system. Right. That shows you how strong baseball is across the world. Now, if we can expand it into stuff like, Korea's already got a good system, Mexico's got a decent one. If we could get
the rest of the Caribbean's running pretty strong.
Right. If we can get China, Germany, Italy, their baseball leagues up on the same level, we might be in a actual World Series.
Right, actual World Series, not just.
Yeah, and I mean, baseball's already headed back. And baseball's already headed back to the Olympics. So I don't think we'll ever see a stop in the Japanese baseball players. I think we're going to see an increase and an increase of other nationality superstars.
Well, even China's league's starting to grow. That's the one thing the World Baseball Classic has really done. I mean, Israel's team's pretty good now. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much Team Long Island. But, I mean, even Brazil is starting to put guys out there. Yan Gomes is a quality Major League Baseball player. Mm-hmm. They got another pitcher, I think, that's doing pretty well. Panama is producing guys. I mean, it really does show the strength because the game was down. After the strike in 94, it was down.
Yeah, I agree.
It was not good. Mm-hmm. And with the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, home run thing, and then Barry Bonds, and people started getting back to the game. This is the strongest it's been probably since the 50s.
Yeah, we baseball used their steroided up superstars to get people back interested into baseball.
Yes.
And then they cleaned up the sport at the right time. And, because once you had him throwing, Clemens throwing the bat right back, everyone said, wait a second, we can't be letting our children see this happen.
Right.
This is not an idol. We got to clean up baseball. We did. And now we got clean baseball going on. We got kids feeling like they can go to the park and compete without having to roid up.
Right.
Because that's where we were headed. We were headed to kids trying to juice up in a high school locker room to hope that they could be in the MLB.
Right.
That's what we were headed to if we did not clean up our sport.
It's true.
So I think they did it at the right time, and people are back into baseball. And, I think attendance is another thing that we talk about, because people always say, well, look at the Rays, or look at these teams that are needing to decrease their to their attendance. And they said, well, the Rockies took out a few thousand seats to put in a bar. Well, I mean, if you're doing the interactive bars, like the Royals did and the Rockies did, or the Tampa Bay Rays are going to do it, because people go to... That's one of the most unique things about baseball, is that they're all different. All the parks have something cool and unique about them. It's not basketball, because basketball can't do that.
Right.
So
like
embrace the uniqueness.
Restaurants and stuff like that in a basketball place, but in a baseball park, everything is unique. Even the actual game itself in that ballpark is unique.
Exactly. And I say fully embrace it, because that makes your people who don't even want to go because they don't like baseball want to go and see the park.
Right.
They want to go see that restaurant. They want to go see, whether it be the wiffle ball field out in the outfield of the Royals. Maybe they want to go see the waterfalls. They want, the Angels. They want to go see the Monument Park and the Yankees. They want to go see these things. The Ivy at Wrigley, the bleachers. They want to go see these things. So I'm all for it. Decrease it, sure, because the day of having a packed 44,000 people at a Rays stadium for 80-something games,
this is not going to happen.
It's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. Even most ballparks, even the Astros, after they won the World Series, weren't selling out every game.
Right. It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. So
in the modern day, with unbelievable television coverage, you're just not going to sell out regular season games. It's just not going to happen anymore.
Right.
Like, I know the Red Sox do and the Cubs do, but a little bit different. They're also smaller parks to begin with. They're only 35,000 compared to the 45,000 as most stadiums are. Plus, they have the uniqueness. You have the Green Monster and the Ivy, and
Yeah.
Even though I'm not sure I want to watch a game in the south side of Chicago right now, but
yeah, and I mean, and the sad thing is, or positive thing, depending on if you're a ticket buyer or not, but Chicago, for the most portion of the south side of Chicago per se, for the most portion of September, closed off their upper deck. So that means if you bought an upper deck ticket, you were upgraded for free to the lower bowl. Not a bad deal for a fan. Bad for ownership.
Right.
So, honestly, if I was a casual guy who just flew into Chicago and said I want to watch some baseball, I am not going to dole out the $200 to get a lower level seat at the Cubs game when I can still watch a professional game. Albeit, though, the White Sox are more like a AAA team right now. But you dole out $16 and you're sitting behind home plate practically.
Right.
So that's a bit of it. Now we're going to flip on over to something cool. Breaking news is that the Dallas Stars will host the Winter Classic next year.
How mad are you if you are Winnipeg?
Ooh.
Absolutely livid.
I think that there is good right for the Canadians to be upset, because it's Dallas and it's Denver.
Yeah.
That's who got the Winter Classics.
Yeah.
No, it would be healthier to have a Canadian host.
Denver, I could understand a little bit more.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my Dallas Stars, and
Right.
I'm going to be the first person to buy a ticket. I will be at that game.
Yeah, I agree. I will be there also.
I've only been to the Cotton Bowl for football.
Yeah, same. 1 minute for football, and I'm excited. I want to see some Dallas Stars. I want to see how that ice holds up. I probably don't even.
I really want to wear shorts to the game.
Because so we're sitting here just 7 days removed from when the game is going to happen next year.
Right.
So, and it was 70 degrees out today. if you guys start seeing what I'm seeing, trying to keep an outdoor ice rink alive in 70-degree weather, God forbid the weather lines up like it did right now.
Well, they actually did it one time basically in the summer in a preseason game in Vegas, way back in the day with Wayne Gretzky.
Right.
And they said that keeping the ice wasn't the issue; it was bugs were attracted to it, and so they had an unbelievable time with gnats.
Oh.
Gnats were just everywhere, and so that's kind of my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's going to sell out. I'm sure it's going to have 100,000 people wherever the Cotton Bowl holds. But as long as they bring in a team that people want to watch.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing about putting it in Dallas. You put it in one of these other cities in the north, you're not going to have to necessarily bring in one of the Blue Bloods.
No.
But in Dallas, unfortunately, they're going to have to bring in somebody good.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that the opponent, if you had to pick maybe one or two, who do you think the Dallas Stars are going to take on?
I would like it to be the Avalanche, but since they're the host in the other one, it's probably not going to be them. I'd like it to be the Wild. A little old school versus new school Minnesota.
Yep, that makes perfect sense.
Plus, that's a divisional game.
Right.
And then, I don't know. There's just something about the Anaheim Mighty Ducks that I said Mighty. The Anaheim Ducks that I just hate.
Okay.
Just the. I hate Ryan Getzlaf. Can't stand him. I don't know why. There's just something about him. I just want to hit him in the face. He wouldn't knock me out first.
Go ahead.
I would like to see the Dallas Stars play the New Jersey Devils, have a Stanley Cup rematch for the Winter Classic.
Or the Sabres, the Buffalo Sabres then?
Yeah, the Sabres. Just
That's
a real.
who we beat.
Yeah, the Sabres are Devils. That's what I'm going
Have
for.
Brett Hull score a goal real quick.
So I'm actually gonna say, this was my first one was a suggestion from somebody else, and they said that the Stars should play the Lightning, and I disagree with that, but I'm just throwing that out there. They were thinking, he's like a really big market team, not big market, but it's popular right now.
They are the best team in the league, right?
Right, and they're last year they were very popular, and they've had successful. So it is a successful franchise right now. Personally, I'm not a fan of that, but I would not. There's something really cool about seeing the favorite classic teams get rolled out. Your beginner six. If Detroit comes down, it's a classic game. Chicago comes down,
even though Detroit's garbage.
The Rangers, I would really like seeing a Rangers Stars game, even though that would confuse the crap out of the casual.
How about Montreal?
Yeah, the Canadians would be happy. Canadians would be happy. They got something to watch.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Maple Leafs. I think that would actually be.
Yeah.
I think that would be actually a pretty fun game.
I think, though, that if we had a Rangers and Stars game, that would confuse the crap out of every casual hockey fan or baseball fan here. I don't want to see Joey Gallo put on ice skates.
I bet he'd be terrifying. Just bring Derek Holland back. We're good to go.
He'd be the one Ranger that would do pretty well on the ice.
I guess Trinas is gone, but just put Trinas in goal.
Odor would rack up the most penalty minutes in fights.
It's Toronto. Put Joey Bats on the other side, and we're good to go.
I'm still triggered by that. All right, and then so we're gonna jump on over to our last topic here of the night, and we're gonna talk about the NBA's All-Star Game coming up.
So, I'd just like to point out that the Dallas Mavericks star rookie Luka Doncic has received more All-Star votes than a lot of the actual All-Star players in the league right now. It's actually insane how much attention this rookie has attracted.
Yeah, they've really come out in support for him, which is great. I went to a game a couple weeks ago, watched him play. It's pretty nice to. He's a pretty good player, man, and he can really do it all except for defend. But
yeah, the entire league is kind of having to adjust this new form of offense, which is just shoot from three and rack up as much points as possible. And
shoot from three and get the rebound if you miss.
Yeah, and so defense. Do you think there is an answer to this new style of play defensively?
Yeah, I think there is. You're just going to need you're going to need more guys with length.
Yep.
You're going to need guys with length and quickness to be able to get on the perimeter as quick as possible. And they're going to have to start allowing the zone.
They don't allow the zone currently?
No, not technically. You can't play a true zone in the NBA like you can in college. But they're going to have to start allowing. They're going to have to do something about this because it's getting out of hand.
Do we know where the All-Star game is this year?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
So I guess that means Michael Jordan would be involved in basically everything.
Probably.
I think that North Carolina college football or college basketball fans are gonna be happy about that.
Well, I mean, the Carolinas are definitely a basketball part of the world. Carolinas and Kansas and Kentucky for whatever reason, and that's it. Especially on college basketball.
Yeah. When was the last time the All-Star game was hosted in Dallas? I'm genuinely curious. I mean,
I know it was Houston a couple years ago.
I mean, it couldn't have been in the 90s because the Mavs were trash then.
Well, it's about new arenas, though.
Found it. Any guesses?
I'm going, let's see, the Mavs are a relatively new franchise, so I'm going to say 91.
2004.
More recent.
No, it is right. 2014.
2010.
Bingo. Right on the dot. 2010.
Wow. Now, is that the 2009-2010 season or the 2010-2011 season?
February 14th, 2010.
So 09-10 season.
That was the year, the season right before the Mavs won the NBA championship.
It was. So are you saying that you want them to bring the All-Star game back to Dallas so that they can win the NBA championship again?
I'm not one for conspiracy theories.
And it was not held where you think it would be.
It wasn't in the AAC?
No.
Is it still in Reunion Arena? Oh, no, that's right. They played it at AT&T.
Yes, that is correct. The Cowboys Stadium.
That's right. I forgot they played it at AT&T.
In front of a crowd of 108,000 fans.
For basketball.
Jeez.
But that's what they started doing with these NCAA games now.
Isn't the Sweet 16 in NCAA basketball hosted at AT&T Stadium nowadays?
I mean, last year it was. Last year I know the first round was hosted at AT&T, but the finals they do the Final Four now at an NFL stadium usually.
So here's some interesting tidbits for you about it. About our last time we hosted it was 1986.
Before that?
That was the last time that DFW hosted an NBA All-Star game, 1986.
Jeez.
I couldn't even tell you one All-Star that was in that 1986 game.
I got a couple for you. I mean,
Okay, all right, let's see one. Let's hear one. 1986 NBA All-Star.
We'll start with Michael Jordan.
I would 86?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd
Michael Jordan is confirmed.
I'd go. What?
Larry Bird.
I was gonna go Magic Johnson too.
Larry Bird is confirmed. And you said Magic Johnson?
Yeah.
Confirmed.
It's gosh, what? It's hard to. We all know the All Stars from the '90s, but the '80s.
Patrick Ewing.
And Patrick Ewing?
I would think he'd be more '90s.
Denied.
Oh.
Kevin McHale.
Kevin McHale.
That's a good guess.
And confirmed.
All right.
He was with the Celtics at the time.
How about it, my boy Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon?
And that is Hakeem Olajuwon with the Houston Rockets. Confirmed.
Let's see, 86.
The Spurs sent a guy.
David Robinson.
Alvin Robertson, absolutely correct.
I was going to say Dave Robinson too. The instant
Still missing somebody from the Lakers.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And one more from the Lakers.
James Worthy.
He was very worthy. All right, guys. Rockets.
Moses Malone?
No.
I want to say, I know this is I'm a few decades off, but for whatever reason, Tracy McGrady's popping into my head.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know I'm a few decades off.
Who did the Dallas Mavericks send?
Oh, I should know this.
1986. Roy Tarpley?
Rolando Blackman.
There you go. Oh, and the Houston Rockets was Ralph.
I'm not getting it.
Ralph Sampson.
Boom.
Ralph Sampson.
Utah
The
Jazz.
Twin Towers.
Utah Jazz?
Oh, that's John Stockton.
Nope.
Karl Malone.
Adrian
You're going to need to tell me.
Dantley.
I got nothing.
Denver Nuggets. English.
Robert English?
Alex English.
Robert English? Who am I thinking of?
Robert Parrish.
And then we got the Blazers.
Clyde Drexler?
Boom, nailed it. With Portland. That was the Portland Trailblazers. There you go. The Spurs sent one more.
It couldn't be Tim Duncan.
No.
I didn't think so.
He was a very artistic guy, you could say. Artis Gilmore. And the last one here to represent the West. The Los Angeles Clippers sent someone.
Clippers?
The Clippers. The Los Angeles
The
Clippers.
80s?
Yes, the Los Angeles Clippers sent Marquise Johnson. Well, now you've found everybody on the West. You've named everybody on the West.
Oh, that was just the West.
You missed the Detroit Pistons for the East.
Oh, Joe Dumars? No. Isaiah Thomas.
There you go. Milwaukee Bucks.
I'd say Kareem, but we already said Kareem, and Kareem was at the Lakers at this point.
Yeah. Craig Elo?
Sydney Moncrief.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia 76ers. Who did they send?
Julius Erving.
They sent two people. They sent Julius Erving, that is correct. And they sent Maurice. Boom. You already got Moise Malone. You already got Larry Bird. New Jersey Nets.
Aguirre? No.
Buck Williams.
Yeah. I do know who he is, but
The guy who replaced Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan was on IR, came from the Washington Bullets.
Oh, back when they were still the Bullets.
And that was Jeff Malone.
Jeff Malone, yeah, I definitely got that.
And the guy who replaced Patrick Ewing while Patrick Ewing was injured.
Oh, I did have Patrick Ewing right.
Yes, you did. And the guy who replaced Patrick Ewing
Alonzo Mourning?
came from the Boston Celtics.
Robert Parrish.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right, you guys got it. That's everybody. Okay, last one. This is going to be the toss-up right here. Head coaches for the East. Head coach for the East.
Chuck Daly.
No. Came from Boston.
Ed Auerbach?
KC.
Oh, Casey Jones.
There you go, KC Jones. And
Not the guy from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, by the way.
And then we got the Western Conference Team All-Star. Head coach would be
Oh my God, what's his name?
Pat Riley?
bingo. Pat
You know,
Riley.
I was gonna guess Pat Riley for the East because I thought he was with the Celtics at that point.
No, he wasn't with the Celtics. He was with the Lakers, and then he was with the Heat.
Okay. Who's the guy that? Oh, I was gonna for the West. I was gonna guess Phil Jackson. That's right, but he didn't go to the Lakers until much later.
I'm surprised I knew as many players from when I was 3 years old.
In fact, you're wearing a Washington Bullets jersey, aren't
No,
you?
I am wearing a San Antonio Bullets Joe Morgan jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, it said Bullets on it, so you'll have to
It does say
forgive me.
Bullets on it, though, but it is definitely a Joe Morgan jersey.
So, we're going to bring you a little bit. We're going to bring you back to 2010. Who was the head coach of the one here in 2010 for the Western Conference? It's hosted here. And
That would have been Phil Jackson.
And from the Western Conference, came from the Denver Nuggets.
Oh.
Phil Jackson and Mike Brown coached in the 2009 All-Star Game, so they were ineligible for 2010.
Oof.
So it came from Denver Nuggets.
George Karl.
Boom. George Karl. And the Eastern coach came from Orlando Magic.
Oh, that's he coaches the Clippers now.
I know the face. I just don't know the name.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Stan
Van Gundy.
There you go.
Stan Van Gundy.
Well, we already know LeBron James went.
Yeah. When is he not in an All-Star game these days?
2010.
Okay, I'm probably gonna get more.
Brad
East.
Miller?
Are we doing more? Are we doing East players or West players?
We'll start with the East.
Okay.
Starter for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Allen Iverson?
It was his 11th. Yes, and it was his 11th. From the Miami Heat.
Dwayne Wade.
Boom. And final two, Boston Celtics.
Kevin Garnett.
Point. Ding ding. Orlando Magic.
Dwight Howard.
Ding ding.
He was at the Magic at that point.
And then
That was right off they came out the finals appearance.
all right, so you get to name 5. There's 5 here, so we're gonna try and see who can win this matchup. All right, guys. From the Phoenix Suns on the Western Conference side. Phoenix Suns.
Steve Nash.
Ding. So we got 1-0. From the Los Angeles Lakers.
Kobe Bryant.
Ding. 2-0. All right. If he gets his next one, he clinches.
Go back to 1986.
Come on, Coolhand. Let's go. Come on, right here. We got the Denver Nuggets.
Carmelo.
Ding. The sweep was prevented. All right. So we got a 2-1. But he's still looking to clinch here. Come on. From the San Antonio Spurs.
Tim Duncan.
Boom! Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, you had 3 players to pick from. You literally had 3 players. Either one of those would have been a good guess.
All right, and the final starter is from the Phoenix Suns.
Amari Stoudemire.
Boom! That was right down the wire, and he nailed that. Okay, all right. So yeah, and then you got your reserves, but we'll probably not dig into that too much. But if you have any reserves you just want to throw out there, I'll let you know if they're on there.
Dirk.
Dirk is on there.
Tony Parker.
Would he be for the West?
He'd be for the West.
No.
Manu. Ginobili.
Ginobili. Nope.
Damn.
Is Shaquille O'Neal on there? I want to say no. Because he would have been a starter.
Somebody was from the 10th All-Star game from the Dallas Mavericks.
I already said Dirk, right?
Yes.
Jason Kidd. No.
Boom. Jason
I was
Kidd.
just about to say that nice one.
And then, then the next with the most repeat visits would be someone from the Denver Nuggets with his 5th All-Star game.
You already said Carmelo Anthony. You said this was his 5th All-Star appearance?
Correct.
So it's not Kenneth Faried.
Chauncey Billups.
Oh.
Yeah, I was not going to get that.
I forgot he played for the Nuggets.
So the reserves on the eastern side did not have as many re-invites, but someone did get 8 from the Boston Celtics. This was his 8th All-Star game.
Paul Pierce.
Boom.
Oh, damn.
The next most often was from the Toronto Raptors with his 5th.
Chris Bosh.
Boom. And 4th from the Atlanta Hawks.
Joe Johnson.
Got it. So there you go. Let's know your memories go right there.
The only Atlanta Hawks player I know is Dominique Wilkins and Trae Young, so I wasn't going to get that right.
You also have to include Dikembe Mutombo. For all y'all out there, I was waving my fingers.
He was very much waving his finger. I felt shame upon my basketball IQ.
And that'll be it for today's show. This is Diller dealing out.
This is Coolhand. Y'all have a good one.
This is Mickey. Thank you for tuning in to the BYBS show. We'll catch you next time.